Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zerl. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick and Jeff Lasseter. Visit us at ihatecritics.net, Everyone's a Critic podcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle is CriticsPod. Listen to us at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, all your podcatchers. Subscribe to the show at Apple Podcasts. Rate and review the show. If you give us a 5-star review, we'll read it on the air. Also, let us know you did it because we don't always see them when they go up. Patreon.com/criticspod is the best way to help support the podcast. We got bonus episodes up there, such as the Friday the 13th commentary track. I believe we have more coming in the future very soon, along with Sean and I's music reviews and other things. And then TeePublic, if you head over to ihatecritics.net, click on the TeePublic link, you can get some of our podcast merch. Sean, where can people get your reviews?
You can find a lot of it at geeks.media or horror.media. You can also find the archive blog if you want to tell me I'm lying about my opinion of a past movie. Maybe I am. I might have forgotten. It's at shothatthemovies.blogspot.com.
And Jeff, where can people get your art?
JeffLassiter.com has links to my Etsy and my TeePublic, and you can just buy shit off of there too, I think, now.
And all those links are posted in our show notes if you are interested. All right. Let's jump right into the show. We have 3 new movies for you. We'll start with Sisu.
Sisu is a film made in Finland, directed by Jalmar Helander and starring Jorma Tommila as Atami Korpi. He's a soldier who has fought in the war and has gained a reputation as being a brutal killer. And he's now, of course, he's retired and wanting to just cash in. And he's found this big vein of gold that he's going to take to the capital and cash in and call it a life. Unfortunately, on his way there, he's confronted by fleeing Nazis. It's 1944. The Nazis are fleeing Finland. And they confront him. He ends up killing a couple of them. A whole battalion turns around to fight him, and they end up in a bloody battle in which Korpi is basically he's basically John Wick crossed with a little bit of the Black Knight from Monty Python, and that nothing can kill or slow him down. He just wants to keep fighting. The movie is best known for its trailer, which is all about how there's this cute sheepdog in the movie, and they want you to know that the sheepdog does not die. And indeed, the dog lives. It survives the entire movie. Just don't ask what they do to the horse, because, oh my God, it's horrific. This movie is really good in many ways. I think it's gritty and gross and bloody in a way that I appreciate, kind of like John Wick. I like some of the it's almost comically brutal at times, and especially I enjoy watching Nazis just get knives stuck in their heads. That's something I'll always enjoy. It's the one class of people that we can all one of the few classes of people that we can all agree on. We don't mind seeing them get knives jammed in their skull or them blown into little pieces. So that's fun. This movie is, like I said, it's not bad. I think it goes a little bit too far in how much this guy can survive things, even beyond, say, even John Wick. I think this guy gets even more brutalized than that, and that does push the film into sort of a place of absurdity that it doesn't quite justify. But I still had a pretty good time watching this movie, and I still did enjoy it. I still did enjoy it stylistically and kind of on that Schadenfreude level of just watching Nazis get knives jammed in their skulls.
Yeah, this movie suffers from coming out the week after Beau is Afraid for me, and I had the same issue when Midsummer came out. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. I think I'm surprised that I don't hear people raving about it like they did Mad Max Fury Road, because it is it's a different kind of action movie, but because it's not as slick as John Wick or Mission Impossible. It is brutal, but it's got its own kind of style, and I think people are going to like it and have fun with it, and I think it'll do well online, watching it with groups and whatnot, and streaming and all that good stuff. But again, it's pretty repetitive. I had a hard time. Like, I would much rather watch Inglourious Bastards or something like that than this. But that's not trying to be Inglourious Bastards. It's trying to be, an action movie, a badass action movie. And I wasn't in the mood for badass action movies after Beau Was Afraid, so it was hard for me to get in the right headspace for this movie. But there's nothing wrong with the movie. I mean, you're 100% right. It does go, I don't want to say unbelievable, because of course, I mean, it's essentially a Rambo-like figure.
Right.
Of course, it's unbelievable, but there are points where it gets so far out there you kind of pull yourself out of it. And I couldn't tell if it was the movie or if it was the fact that it came out the week after Beau Was Afraid, making me lose investment, I guess, if you will.
I get. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I get that, because like you have that, that transcendent cinema experience. You don't want to lose that headspace, and when you're walking back into the theaters and trying to recapture that feeling, and it's not there, anything was going to pale in comparison after Beau. And certainly, this movie, I saw it before that, so I saw this well over a week ago, and so I didn't have that going into it. But
yeah.
There's also an aspect of this too, is that it's a little bit derivative. Like I said, like I mentioned John Wick, but also like it has a chapter structure that is like Inglourious Bastards, and the marketing campaign has that sort of irreverent Tarantinoism that they definitely want to evoke as a marketing campaign. Also, part of that marketing campaign, aside from the dog, is a group of women who are in the movie who are are viewed a number of times, walking down this, road carrying guns, looking like they're going to kill some Nazis as well, which they do, but it's not a big part of the movie, but it has been part of the marketing campaign, which is not entirely misleading, but not entirely truthful about those characters either.
Well, it's not to Tarantino's level. I think if it was, that might have actually worked for me.
Just as a marketing campaign, they're just
100%. You're 100%. Absolutely, but that is, like you said, just derivative. We've seen everything in this movie at some point in another movie, more or less. The cringe scenes, they just, I don't know. Again, after seeing Beau Was Afraid, the uncomfortable level that I went through there, the misery, every emotion that it dragged out of me, this couldn't touch that. I mean, there's a scene where he's hanging and he uses an open wound to hold himself up while he's hanging, and it's not as effective as it should be. I mean, I'm sure it is great for the right audience, and again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just kind of more, I just find myself either rolling my eyes or yawning or just watching it and being like, okay, I get it, but not like embracing it. And again, it goes back to being invested. I just never got into the right headspace for this movie, and I'm sure it has its audience, though.
At some point, he turns into Tom from Tom and Jerry, where he's getting blown up so much that your ability to suspend disbelief, like that scene to me, like you're not walking after that. I'm sorry, I don't care how immortal you are, or how extraordinary his resolve is to get his gold back and take revenge on the Nazis. He's just not going to walk after that. And I know the movie's not trying for an objective reality, but it doesn't do enough to tell you that it's not going for an objective reality.
And it's not so stupid like the Fast and the Furious or whatever, where it's so over the top where you just kind of laugh at it and have fun with it. It's trying to be this own little world. Pretty much everything with the plane at that point, I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. And again, you're not supposed to think it's real, but I don't know. My brother's going to love it when he sees it. He's the audience for that. He thinks the best movie in the last 20 years is Mad Max Fury Road. And I think that audience, while it's not totally like that, because it is more over the top, but I guess they're both over the top, but in a different way. I do still think if you're just into badass actors, and that's all you care about is, oh, that was cool, then I think this is the movie for that crowd.
Definitely.
But not for the the John Wick audience. Not everybody from that audience is going to like this movie. Like, only a portion of them will. I don't know. It's weird. Anything else on Sisu before we move on?
I do like this movie. I do recommend it for particular fans. I think it is skillfully directed for the most part, but I wanted to love this a lot more than I did.
And I want it to be something else that's not fair to the movie. Everything I'm saying is not fair to the movie. The movie is what it is, and it does really good at what it is. I just was in the mood for another movie, and I can't hold that against this movie. Polite Society.
Polite Society is a terrific movie about, it's directed by and written by Nita Manzoor and stars Priya Kansara as Ria, who is a teenage girl who dreams of being a stunt woman. She's supported by her sister, played by Ritu Arya, until her sister falls in love and is about to get married. And this is where a sort of conspiracy plot kicks in, because Ria would prefer that her sister not get married. She wants her to stick around and support her in her career and her dreams. And with her sister leaving, she's going to be the only one at home with her mom and dad, who may not be as supportive. And she's also just kind of selfishly just wants her sister around. So part of what's happening is she seems to be inventing a conspiracy involving the family that her sister is marrying into. But there's also an actual conspiracy going on, because this family may or may not have something that they're doing, whether it's some kind of human trafficking operation or something even more bizarre. And there is something even more bizarre at the heart of the movie. This movie is very funny. It's a terrific action movie. The characters are absolutely wonderful. Priya Kansara is just so much fun, and she's got two young actresses who play her best friends, who are just they're an adorable trio. You can't help but just absolutely fall in love with while you're watching them, because they're so cute, being friends and being badasses as well, and they do get to the chance to be real badasses in the end, and I did enjoy that. I enjoyed everything about this movie. It's just got a really deft, light tone that also takes, it plays well with like the ideas of storytelling. Like, is this really happening, or is it not really happening? All the way up until it admits what's actually happening. It's really clever, really well put together, and it bombed so spectacularly this weekend. It's so sad. The movie was on over 1,000 screens, and it did not break $1 million, and that's unfortunate. More people should see this. It's really a lot of fun.
I'd never even heard of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same.
I saw the trailer a while back and just absolutely loved it because of all the martial arts stuff combined with like Bollywood elements. There's a great like Bollywood dance sequence in this that is also cleverly woven into the plot. It's just so much fun.
Any chance it picks up live streaming, or?
I hope so. I don't know. It's like I said, it bombed really badly, and very few people seem to be talking about it. So Focus Features has truly epically dropped the ball on this one, and it's a real shame.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Based on a book by Judy Blume from many, many years ago. This is a comedy directed by Kelly Freeman Craig and starring Rachel McAdams and a young woman named Abby Ryder Fortson, who is the Margaret of the title. A lot of people know this movie as sort of a movie about being about the transition from being a 12-year-old to a young woman. But a lot of this is actually about a crisis of religious faith. Her parents, played by Rachel McAdams and Benny Safdie, are from different religions, and they've given their daughter the opportunity to choose what religion she wants to be. And a lot of the movie is her talking to God and trying to figure out what it is that she believes. Is she Jewish? Is she Christian? What type of Christian would she be if she were going to be Christian? And those questions are really well handled. And part of the reason why they're so well handled is this wonderful young actress, Abby Ryder Fortson, who sort of endures the humiliations of the other part of the plot, so she can really hone in on this this much bigger question about her religious faith. And I really loved the way that Kelly Freeman Craig balanced those two stories and kept it all, very light and funny throughout. This cast is wonderful as well, with Rachel McAdams and especially Kathy Bates, who Kathy Bates may be the best scene stealer in film history. I mean, you're talking about like her in Titanic or her in About Schmidt or her in Primary Colors, where she's she's a supporting player, but she's not pulling focus. She's just so good and probably so much better than everybody else. It's not so much that she's stealing the scenes, as she's just so good you can't take your eyes off her. And she definitely does that here. And I love the way she does it. She's playing, the grandmother character to Abby Fortson's character, and she's not like, they're not doing these cliches like where she's the sexy grandma who says anything, who says all the inappropriate shit. She's just grandma. She's just having a life, and she happens to provide, good counsel, and she's cuddly, and they just let her be a grandma, and that's great. She just happens to be really super charming at it. This movie's terrific. I had a terrible experience at it. So I'll tell the story. I guess I think I told you guys in the chat. I went to see this movie because I missed my critic screening a few weeks ago, so I had to go see the movie the night it opened, and I was sitting in the front row watching the movie and enjoying it. And I walk out and I go to talk to the managers who I'm friends with at the movie theater, and they're like, "Yeah, some lady complained about you," and I'm like, "About why? What would they complain about me?" And they just said there's some creep in the front row watching this movie. And apparently just watching this movie in public apparently makes me a creep, I guess.
Did you find out if they were messing with you? Because I know you mentioned at one point you were hoping they were just messing with you. But...
I was hoping they were messing, but I talked to him again, and like, no, this lady really did complain.
Wow.
So she knows you.
I mean, I did as I was watching the crowd leave, I did notice that it was a crowd entirely made up of mothers and daughters. Like there were I was the only man in this full theater. I didn't it never occurred to me, but until afterwards. But yeah,
I mean,
I do understand. Yes, to a point. Like I am, a single guy sitting in the front row of the theater watching a movie that is about a young girl's coming of age, but. Honestly, I think it'd be great if more men saw this movie and kind of found a way to understand, young teenage girls on a level that, talking about things that they don't talk about with men in their family. There's something valuable to that.
I'll be honest, this isn't the only reason, but that was part of the reason why I didn't try to go see that. was because of your story, because I would have had to go see it alone. But I mean, I've had experiences like that, and sometimes guys are just scary, even when we're not. You just don't know. It sucks that we live in a world like that. But Jeff, you saw it, didn't you?
I did. I saw it by myself on Sunday, and I was not the only single male in the room. I loved this movie. I mean, it was like emotional and funny, and the performances in it were just great. I never really cared that much about Rachel McAdams, but she was terrific in this. I got that she was going through her changes just as much as her daughter was, trying to kind of find her way. Kathy Bates, like you said, was just hilarious. And I really, really, every scene she was in, I was hoping she was going to be in more. She at one point shows up at their house, and I feel like I read this book because I read everything by Judy Blume back in the day, but I don't think I did because I just was so shocked that she showed up when the other grandparents were there. Everybody was just perfect as far as like their casting and how they handled the material. And yeah, I think everybody should see this movie. And it was packed when I went,
which is weird because this one also bombed. Like it was on the most screens of anything else that other than Mario, and made under $10 million. So it didn't do well, which kind of shocked me because I saw it also at a full screening. I was aware of this book. I didn't but the main thing I remember is I think there was an episode of the Brady Bunch where they were doing that we must increase our bust thing. I'm pretty sure that was an episode of the Brady Bunch, so that's how I became aware of it. That I that type of thing is so very funny, but there's so many incredibly relatable things about here in this movie that go beyond just the experience of a teenage girl getting her period for the first time. Like, she moves to New Jersey right at the start of the story. Like, that's this big change in her life. She's got to leave her grandmother behind and her friends behind in New York City, and she arrives in the New Jersey suburbs, and this girl just comes up and like, we're friends now, and she's like, oh, okay. She gets inducted into this friend group, and that is pretty relatable for like people who've moved to new towns, and either you just sort of glom onto a new friendship, or somebody just chooses you as their friend. I've been there. Like, I had a friend of mine do that when I moved once. They just kind of said, we're friends now, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're friends now. It's one of those great relatable, young teenager moments. Another one I was really relating to was the whole religion thing, because it was I was 13 or 12, 13, 14 when I was like, you know what, Mom, I'm going to be a Muslim. And she was like, what? No, you're not. I did that. I really enjoyed what I heard when I heard about it. I was really like hardcore about the idea that if you steal something, they should cut your hands off. Like, I was really like, yeah, that's what this is about. I was too stupid to actually look into the actual religion. Just the dumb shit that our country teaches you about that religion. But I started rebelling about religion at a very young age and became an atheist relatively early on in life. So I related to that very heavily. Her, this desire that she has to continue talking to God, even as she is questioning whether or not there even is a God. That's bold. I mean, for whether if that was part of the book at the time, and of course it's still bold now to allow a character at this age to be this forward thinking about questioning religion is incredibly bold and incredibly well handled in this movie.
When my 14-year-old niece told me she didn't believe in God at the dinner table one night, I was just like, oh, awesome. Me neither.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what makes this movie feel so true and authentic is that kids do ask that question, and kids do have those thoughts, and they should be encouraged to think for themselves in that way. And this is certainly something that I think is a hallmark of Judy Blume, is encouraging kids, young people to think for themselves and discover things for themselves. And that can be, I know for parents, I imagine, Bob, that can be kind of scary for you as a parent to think of your child discovering these things on their own and maybe not talking about them with you and having to go through the experience of, I don't know, the loss of a religion or the loss of a faith in something that you seemingly thought they would have their entire lives. That's got to be something to watch.
Yeah, when he gave up on Satan, it hurt. No, I mean, it's obviously I went through it. It sounds like we all did to an extent. And so I went out of my way to, do what you want. It doesn't, so I'm not, but I understand why it could be. I mean, I think I was telling you guys a story about a situation I dealt with last week where someone compared the swastika to a rainbow flag and what's the difference in the symbol. And it's like, there's a large percentage of this country where that just being Christian is normal. It's not a belief. It's just how it is and the way we should be. And they don't understand that, that needs to be respected as much as, or that needs to be treated on the same level as something like any other belief, or I don't know. And they don't, it's just the way it is. It's normal. It's not a belief. And that's kind of disgusting in a lot of ways. So I'm glad movies like this exist. It's a bummer that it didn't do better. Makes me kind of want to go reread the book just to see how much of it's the same.
Yeah, I've never,
Yeah,
I've never read it. Go ahead, Jeff.
oh, I just think that, if you know a woman, you should see this movie because it's, from what I have talked to a couple people that I work with, it's true to life from that time. The people that that I work with who grew up around that time. One lady said, she goes, I just remember being about that age, and you're finally noticing things about boys, and you're finally like noticing things about your parents and your grandparents that don't necessarily jive with who you are. And I think that's true for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you're a boy or a girl or whatever. Um, but I think it's it's what I wanted eighth grade to be. I liked that movie, but I was like, oh, you know what? This gets me a little more.
I
A little
just
more.
go ahead.
The emotions were a little more balanced for me in this one. Because that's the time of your life when you're laughing one second and you're crying the other, and you're kind of in awe of the people around you. And
The observing, because I've never had children, I'm never going to have children. That is not part of my particular journey. But one thing I've noticed as an outside observer that a mistake that a lot of parents appear to make is that they get to this point in a child's life and they don't realize that part of a child's journey is identifying themselves away from their parents, choosing things specifically that are going to define them apart from their parents. Like, I became a Republican as a teenager to define myself away from my Democrat parents. Like, that, I didn't do it because I actually bought in. I tried to buy in. I tried to convince myself of those things were right. But the main point is that my parents are Democrats, so I'm going to be a Republican. My mom is a Catholic. I'm going to be a Muslim or an atheist. Like, I was choosing things specifically to define myself, to give myself my own personality that had nothing to do with them. And every child does this, and a lot of parents fail to recognize that and give them the latitude to figure themselves out and come around on that, which my mom did eventually. She was upset about the whole, not being a Catholic thing, but she gave me room to figure out who I was, and especially politically figure out who I was. And she never tried to impose herself in that way. And that's actually what brought us, so much closer, is that she never tried to impose herself or her beliefs upon me. She just gave me room to figure out who I was.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I'm dealing with that now. Obviously, I have kids, and my daughter is 15, and I'm sure there's something I'm not noticing, but when it's like happening to my wife, I notice it more because it's easier to see it happen to other people. But we both are trying so hard to not have her live our childhood and the things we didn't like about our childhood that I see my wife almost like hugging my daughter to death and like, you need to go here, and trying to move her piece by piece like she's like it's a video game. And I'm like, she's not gonna do what you want to do. She's gonna naturally rebel. That's what we all did. You did it. I did it. You just gotta let her. None of this stuff's important, Who cares if she does track in a small town? She's not going to do it in college, and if she does, she's going to stop at college, and none of it's like it just doesn't matter, And she has student loans. It doesn't matter. If she has debt, it does. You're going to figure it out, and it is fascinating because I'm like right in the thick of it now, and. I didn't see this movie, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it with a family at some point when it's streaming, or maybe it's hard for me to go to the theater after this podcast. So if I missed it for this week, I wait till it's streaming. I feel like an asshole doing that because sometimes there are movies I want to see and I just like, nope, you're not getting my money. I didn't get to go the week it came out. So, but this sounds like one that will fit right into what we're going through. Even my daughter's a little bit older than this character. It's still I don't know, I'm fascinated by the conversation. I didn't even see it, so it makes me want to read the book. It makes me want to see it.
Highly recommend. Yeah, this is a very, very good movie.
All right. And that is our show. We will see you next week. Our classic this week is Return of the Jedi. And if Josh were here, I'm sure he would correct me because it's probably a different name or I forgot some words.
Star Wars episode, yeah.
But the
Jeff, it's your birthday present, so why don't you lead us through Star Wars Return of the Jedi?
Well, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Sorry, Bob. No, Return of the Jedi came out in 1983, 40 years ago this month. And it is at the time, concluding chapter of the Star Wars saga, where Luke Skywalker has returned to his home planet of Tatooine to rescue his friend Han Solo from the clutches of the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt. That's what I remember from the opening crawl. The Death Star has been destroyed, but they are building a new and bigger Death Star. And if they build the Death Star, it will create certain doom for the galactic rebellion. It basically, this is in The Empire Strikes Back. Darth Vader famously tells Luke that he is his father, and this is Luke coming to terms with that, along with the fact that in the last movie he made out with his sister, Leia. Comes out that it's his sister, so that it's all nice and convenient, so that him and Han don't have to fight over her anymore.
Makes it easy.
What's that?
Makes it easy.
Yeah. It's my favorite Star Wars movie because I saw it just at the right time. I was 11. I was starting to understand how story structure works and how, the third act works and that kind of thing. It also has my favorite sequence, which is the Jabba the Hutt sequence, because I love monsters and things like that. And some of the best movie monsters in the world came out of that sequence. It also is divisive amongst fans because of the fact that the Ewoks on the planet Endor, where the rebels go to try to dismantle the shield that's protecting the new Death Star, are little fuzzy teddy bears who take over and basically help them win the fight against the Empire. At the time, I remember a lot of people complaining that the fuzzy little teddy bears shouldn't have done this, and they just did it to sell toys and that kind of thing. George Lucas has come out and said that it was a primitive technology, much like the Vietnamese people who won the war through ingenuity and primitive weapons. Whether you buy that or not, that's what he said, so I will go with that.
George Lucas sides with Vietnam, confirmed.
Billionaire
Hanoi George. Hanoi George. No, it's if they had never made another Star Wars movie, I think this would have been a fitting end. Of course, they're showing in the theaters. They are showing the special edition and the special Blu-ray edition with some of the pieces that I actually asked Josh if he wanted to go on Friday, and he said he could not do it because it was the special edition, and he can handle the other two, but not this one. And I give it a pass because it was always my favorite movie. Seeing it on the big screen, I actually watched it twice this weekend, and it's just for me. It still holds up. When these movies are on, when I turn them on, I'm usually doing something else. It's like listening to music for me. So sitting down and watching it, I caught a few things that I either had forgotten about or didn't know actually happened. And I also noticed some of the changes more than I do when I'm just have it on in the background. That being said, I fully enjoy it. I will continue to call it my favorite Star Wars movie. Although, the first one is a close second. I know that I'm supposed to love The Empire Strikes Back the best because it's existential or whatever, but I like the fun. I like if I want my message, that's what I'm going to do. That's when I'm going to go watch the Last Jedi. Everybody's favorite.
My favorite.
I know it's your favorite, but it's 5.5 years later, and we're still listening to chuds on Twitter,
Right.
Bitching about it. I'm just like, shut up, stop, get a life.
Well, when we did it, or go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, go ahead. No, I'll let you guys wax poetic about it.
Well, since we're on the special edition, we haven't gone too far from that. When you guys, or Josh and Sean, made me watch the three of them for the podcast, I think the only one available was a special edition, the only one I could get a hold of, and Josh was not happy about that, or he kind of mentioned, I think you'd like it better if you watched it without this and that, and I couldn't really obviously tell the difference. That said, as a kid, I was actually a big Ewok fan, so the teddy bears and stuff worked on me at 3 years old or however old I was.
That explains your beard.
Yeah. I'm gonna shave it now. Go ahead.
I was 8 when this came out, and it's the first one that I can remember seeing in a movie theater. I know I saw the other two. I don't remember those experiences.
You want me to tell a story about you seeing the first one?
That's all right. That's fine. I remember enjoying it at the time, and then it became very cool to not like Return of the Jedi because because of the teddy bears. And what I learned this time is that this is far better than that, and that the Ewoks are far more justifiable as a force, if you will, in this movie. They do provide a rooting interest here that is much stronger than I ever gave it credit for. And I also don't like the fact that so many people use Empire Strikes Back as sort of a weapon against other people, against other fans. I don't enjoy that. There's so many people who do that, and it's annoying. It doesn't make you cool just to like Empire. I know I love Empire, but still, it has become that sort of I'm an adult because I like Empire. You're a child because you like Jedi. Like, that's dumb. That's stupid. Don't do that.
They've been bringing up. They defend Jedi when it comes to how Rian Johnson, quote unquote, ruined Luke Skywalker. Then they love Jedi.
See, I like The Last Jedi because I'm a grown up.
Yeah. You've seen other movies besides The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
The thing that stood out to me most, though, this time watching it on the big screen, and of course, John Williams' score aside, that's easily the most impressive thing about anything. It's just so very, very good, and I think they could put that to just about any movie and make it better. But no, the thing that stood out to me this time was noticing just how good Mark Hamill was in this. He's so much better in this than he is in the previous Star Wars movies, where he can kind of seem overwhelmed in the other movies a little to a degree that as an actor you're noticing him struggling and being overwhelmed a little bit. He seems so much more assured here and confident than and I know the character is supposed to be that way because he's kind of become a Jedi, but I think there's an aspect to this movie where Mark Hamill's just a better actor by this point, 3 movies in. He's sort of found the character for the first time, and I think you can see that in his eyes, you can see that in his manner, and even working his way through George Lucas's somewhat wonky dialogue, he's a lot more confident and assured in doing that. He was so stuck with he was so hard. It was so hard for him to try and fight through all that gee whiz, boy, 50s boy genius stuff that he was doing in the first film, and having to carry that over into the second film. And here he's finally allowed to relax a little bit, and you can see how much better he is and more confident and comfortable he is in this movie. And that's really what stood out to me this time.
So did he write, did he have all these ideas, episode 1 through 9 or whatever, before he even made them? Because you kind of mentioned, conveniently they were able to get out of the love triangle thing by making them related. Was that planned all along, or did he just kind of finish it up and I'm going to change this here? I guess I'm always curious about how that worked.
Yes and no. He did have a different.
He had like an outline, kind of.
Yeah, he kind of had an outline, and it was quite a bit different than what the movies turned out to be. At one point, Luke was a woman. So I guess we can say that when people hate trans people, but they're Star Wars fans, that Luke used to be a woman.
Or when they hate Rey.
Yeah, yeah. I some of what he put in the outline and in the initial stories that have been leaked or whatever, that the hero did have a sister, you know, and it did have a father that was part of it and all that, but it's very loosely based on that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I mean that's.
I don't think he had the plan, you know, to make Luke and Leia brother and sister until he decided how do we get Leia and Solo together without making Luke look like a stooge.
And,
Hey, Bob?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see Chasing Amy before you saw any Star Wars movies?
Yes, I saw all the codes.
Was
Literally
it
on the
funnier
show.
after? Yeah.
On the show is when I watched Star Wars for the first. I mean, maybe they were around. I mean, I was like 3 when they came out, so
Did Chasing Amy get funnier after you saw Star Wars?
I don't know.
I'm just talking about the one scene where
Clerks made more sense. And I mean,
the Black Rage scene in Chasing Amy, I think is much funnier if you've seen Star Wars.
oh, I might need to watch Star Wars again because I don't remember what that was referring to. I don't know. It's I'm almost more interested in the behind the scenes stuff with Star Wars than the movies themselves, just because it's fascinating to me how it all, like, why did they stop then? I think it's cool that Lucas didn't direct all of them originally. I like the whole behind the scenes, you know, even the fact that the fans went and kind of created their own little fan fiction out of it and all these books. And I don't care about any of them, but I just find that whole dynamic interesting. And I'm just curious, you know, what's canon, what's not. Does the new ones count as canon in most Star Wars fans' mind? Does Disney count? Like, I don't. And again, and then once it got really hateful and kind of like, why is this so woke? Then I got out of the interesting. That's not interesting anymore. It's just annoying. But that was always more of what I found interesting about Star Wars in general. Largely because I had no nostalgia for it. I didn't remember watching them as a kid. So, and I think that's probably why I'm not as into Jedi. Probably the least, just because with that being so much fun, I think a lot of it relies on you going back to the, you know, your experience with it originally when you saw it, you know, in the theater, or, you know, all the memories you have. And watching it as an adult is, you know, even though Jeff just said everybody's cool, so they like Empire the best because they're more adult than everybody. But, you know, watching it as an adult, Empire is the one I related to the most and enjoyed the most, just because it was I don't know, the darkest one, and that's kind of where my interests lie.
The most metal.
There you go. It is weird. Like, everything I love Star Wars, except for, like, I love Kevin Smith. I love heavy metal. All the stuff is very based in Star Wars, and I just don't get it or relate to it. That and comic books. Anything else in Return to the Jedi?
Yeah. Ketchup. That's all.
Okay.
Josh is so happy listening.
What did you do for 93, Sean?
We're doing a movie called Three of Hearts, starring William Baldwin, Sherilyn Fenn, and Kelly Lynch. And it's another one of these. I mean, we can play this 93 bingo card, this 1990s movie bingo card every week, because it's like sweaty guy and uncomfortable sex scenes, and it's another gross movie. It's such a dumb plot. The plot is that a woman played by Kelly Lynch, her girlfriend Sherilyn Fenn breaks up with her, so she hires a male sex worker, Billy Baldwin, to seduce and destroy her girlfriend, so her girlfriend will come back to her. And it's such a and everybody's treating this like this is, and you read reviews of it at the time too. They're treating this like this is a screwball 1930s comedy, and it's like, no, it's seriously fucked up gaslighting and like doing just emotional harm to people you care about. Like, what are you talking about? What is wrong with you, boomers? That entire generation is so fucked up about. I don't know what it is that happened to them where they thought stuff like this was okay. This was never okay. The idea, the fact that there was an entire generation who grew up going, oh yeah, seduce and abandon. That's a plot to a movie. No, that's severely fucked up emotional abuse is what that is.
Well, think of what they went through, though. They went to Woodstock and then grew up and voted for Reagan. I mean, that's what they are. They're a walking contradiction.
They're the parents from Poltergeist.
Yeah. And now they won't go away.
Oh, so true. Yeah, we had. It's still very much fun to watch MJ, who's 19, watching and reacting to these things, just completely blown away by the kind of things that apparently their grandparents thought was cool.
So this wasn't because one of the Baldwins had a threesome movie around this time, if I remember right. This was not that, apparently, right?
I think
Steven, I think, was in it.
Yeah, the stupid religious one. There's so many Baldwins.
Yeah,
Turns out Billy
Laura Flynn Boyle was in it.
Yeah,
I don't
know. Right.
It turns out Billy's actually the best of the Baldwins. If you follow him on Twitter, he's like the nicest one. The rest of them are just a complete disaster.
Yeah,
it's true.
Next week we're doing Dave, Kevin Kline, Sigourney Weaver replacing the president movie, and we'll see how that one holds up.
I was wondering because you have a handful to choose from next week with the Bruce Lee movie and Much Ado About Nothing, and I was curious what you were going to go. That is cool to go because that is boomers love Dave. But I mean, I like Dave. Okay, I mean it's a good straight ahead comedy, I guess. It's been a while since I watched it. Also, next week, Guardians 3 comes out. And part of me wanted to see if this movie even existed. Because in my head, I remember seeing it like at the end of high school, beginning of college, called Scotland, PA, and loving it. But then never hearing of it again, never seeing it in a video store, never anything. And Sean said I could pick the classic, so I picked that. And it does exist, and it's free on Amazon. And I hope it's not terrible. That's the game we're going to play this week.
I have no idea. I've never heard of this movie. I've never heard a thing about it.
I hope you like Bad Company. That's all I remember about this movie is like all Bad Company songs all the time. That's not why I liked it, but that's just the only thing I remember that. And I think it was like young Mara Tierney's in it or something like that.
That is a part of my childhood right there is listening to Bad Company's greatest hits. I love Bad Company.
Well, I hope this is a good movie. Jeff?
Are you being facetious? I can't tell.
I'm serious. I love Bad Company.
Okay.
Paul Rogers is a fantastic singer.
Oh, I'm not dissing Bad Company. I when I DJ'd, I used to have to play them, and I'd never really paid attention to them. And
used to have to play them.
Well, I didn't know them, and then I played
kidding.
them, and then I actually enjoyed them. So I was just curious because sometimes people say I love something, and they're being ironic.
It is effortless for me to call forward any Bad Company song, and I know the words to it. That is how much I listen to it.
I mean, for me, like all those bands from that era, like Boston and Kansas and Styx, I like Bad Company the best, I think. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We can talk about Bad Company next week. We're doing awesome on time. Let's play Flick Shred unless you guys got to get going.
No, I'm good. Let's go.
Oh, crap.
Should we put up Return of the Jedi?
Of course. Just don't embarrass me.
We all know what Bob's going to vote against every single time.
Just vote for Rocky for me.
Never.
Please, Sean. I'm just kidding.
Oh, wait, no.
Ewoks, Battle for Endor.
No.
You know, technically, those came out in theaters in 84 and 85, I think. So, I mean, they do turn 40.
That's all right. We gave you a birthday. I think we're good.
Well, maybe my birthday next year will be Ewoks, the Battle for Endor.
We didn't really talk about. Were we doing the podcast when those turned 30?
I don't remember. Maybe 2014.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. Josh definitely talked about him. So, yeah, that covers it. Josh mentioned him.
All right. Return of the Jedi. Be Kind. Rewind.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Men in Tights.
Return of the
Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Notting Hill.
Yeah,
never mind. Return of the Jedi, obviously.
Return of the Jedi. Insomnia.
Return of the Jedi. I love that poster.
A little bit because I do like Insomnia a lot. Return of the Jedi. I want to watch Insomnia again though soon.
Return of the Jedi. Sideways.
Return of the Jedi.
Boom. Return of the Jedi. Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Return
of the Jedi.
Boom. All right, I voted for both Blade Runner and Sideways. Sorry for those listening at home. Return of the Jedi. 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Close Encounters.
Return of the Jedi.
Close Encounters for me.
Yeah, if you're listening at home, anytime that if Sean and I disagree, Bob is going to pick the other film.
I mean,
so you know.
Like Notting Hill, I would have gone with you guys. There's some of them I would have stayed with you, but.
Well, I'm saying if Sean like okay, we've got A Beautiful Mind and Return of the Jedi. If Sean says A Beautiful Mind, you're going to pick A Beautiful Mind.
I like A Beautiful Mind.
I'm picking
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
I'm curious though if I will like A Beautiful Mind if I have to watch it again because Ron Howard has really lost me, and that's my favorite Ron Howard movie. Return of the Jedi. Ooh. Philadelphia.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
I love Philadelphia, but I can't. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that. Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. Close Encounters again.
Again?
Close Encounters.
I'm going to say Return of the Jedi again.
I'll say Close Encounters again. It is 139 between Black Panther and Philadelphia. That seems weird.
That's a fine spot for it, I think.
It's a fair spot.
It's like in my top 5, I think.
I'm sorry.
No, mine is the only one that counts. This stupid show. I mean, it's fine.
I need to take that approach. Sure. How do I do random? Predators.
Gotta watch it still be all.
Right. Predators Weekend, 1967.
I've never seen Weekend.
I haven't either. Is it any good, Sean?
It's really good. Not the Predators. I actually really like Predators, but not up against Jean-Luc Godard.
Oh, yes.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60
seconds. You can't watch Predators with your pinky when you're drinking your drink at the movie theater.
That's why he watches Empire Strikes Back as well.
Fine. Classic next week is Weekend. Sorry, Bob.
All right, that's fine.
Just kidding.
The Black Dahlia, Spanglish.
I actually like both of these movies. Surprisingly enough, it's actually a really good Adam Sandler movie. But I'm taking the Black Dahlia. I think I don't understand the hatred this movie gets. It gets a lot of hatred from people. I think it's phenomenal.
I agree. The Terminator, The Manchurian Candidate, 1962.
The Terminator.
Oh, I actually love the Manchurian Candidate. That version, I've not seen the remake. And Angela Lansbury is amazing in it. I took me 3 times to watch it though, and the Terminator can literally just be on in the background, and I will get sucked into it. So the Terminator.
Yeah, I picked on watchability myself.
Marathon Man bringing down the house.
Oh God, I mean, which one is better at torture?
Well, one's about torture. I'd assume you should go with that one.
One is an implement of torture. I hate them both because my opinions of Dustin Hoffman are well known. These are both garbage movies as far as I'm concerned. So you guys go ahead and pick.
I haven't actually
Marathon
seen either
Man.
one of them, so Jeff gets to pick. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Divine Love.
Not seen Divine Love. I don't know that one.
Either.
That's it. I think you know where I'm going.
Indiana Jones, Underworld.
Underworld.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Come on, Sean.
Last Crusade's bad.
He
Watch it
hated
again.
Not bad. It's fun. I just watched
Watch it
it a couple
again.
months
It's
ago.
Bad.
It's the Return of the
bad
Jedi to Indiana Jones. I'll go with Indiana Jones. I've never seen Underworld. Sea Beast, Assault on Precinct 13, 2005.
Assault on Precinct 13. That's actually surprisingly, shockingly good.
Yes, it is.
You actually watched Sea Beast?
Yeah, I watched it for the Critics' Choice Awards. Not
Nice.
bad.
Bob's favorite
Magnolia,
movie.
Das Experiment.
I've never seen Das Experiment.
Neither have I. Magnolia, Night of the Demons 2.
Magnolia.
Night of the Demons 2.
Boom.
Fuck you guys. Fuck both of you. That's bullshit.
Dude,
Oh my God,
Magnolia
it's
is not
added at
good.
number 80.
Great. Good choice, guys. Put that one right under number 80. Well done.
I am not even making fun of it. I hate that movie. Say Anything, The Professional.
Say anything.
The Professional.
I agree. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or Rumble in the Bronx.
See, I like Crystal Skull. I think Crystal Skull is cool. Rumble in the Bronx, though, I'm going to pick.
I'm going to pick Indiana Jones because I like it too.
I'll go Rumble in the Bronx. Mean Girls, Funny People.
That's tough. Oh, man, because I love both those movies. Man, I'm going to go Mean Girls because it's shorter.
I'm going to go Mean Girls because I was really thinking about it this week after watching Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, and how Rachel McAdams went from the bitch character to being pretty sympathetic and likable in all the rest of her movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mean Girls is a tighter movie than I like Funny People, but
The only thing I don't like about Mean Girls is the meme every October fucking 3rd.
Yeah.
Wherever it's like the April 25th one from Miss Congeniality, a movie I love, but if I ever see that meme again, I'm gonna fucking run amok. Sorry.
The worst is it's going to be May. That's
no,
worse.
the
than-
worst
Uh-huh.
is May the 4th. Let's not.
Shut up.
Shut up, Bob.
Just for that, I'm gonna share on our page. I'm gonna share
no.
my May the 4th artwork from the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Sorry,
by the way.
Bob. Just kidding.
Shrek the Third, The Wild Bunch, 1969.
The Wild Bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Shrek, but I like The Wild Bunch. Coneheads, Secretary.
I'll say
Secretary.
that I love Coneheads. I think Coneheads is awesome. I'm taking Secretary, but Coneheads is a huge guilty pleasure for me.
Fast and the Furious 6, Boiler Room.
Oh my
Fast
God,
and
Vin
Furious
Diesel
6.
against Vin Diesel.
I know.
That's the only way that Dom, whatever his name is, would die. Because if he went up against himself.
True. It's the only one he'll put over.
I think you're the deciding factor, Jeff.
I'm gonna go Boiler Room.
As am I. Due Date, Underworld, Rise of the Lycans.
Due Date, because that Underworld doesn't have Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah. Due date. Sure.
Due Date's pretty disappointing overall. But
Yeah, that should have been an amazing movie, and at best, it's fine.
Yeah, at best, at best, it's about the same as planes, trains, and automobiles.
Right. Amadeus, Planet Terror.
Amadeus by a lot.
Oh, I don't know. Oh God, I'm just kidding. It's Amadeus.
Amadeus is amazing. I do like Planet Terror, though. Shrek,
I do
Forever
too.
After, The Count of Monte Cristo.
I guess Shrek is Monte Cristo's a mess.
Sure.
I agree. Synecdoche, New York, A Simple Plan.
Tough one, but it's Synecdoche for me. But Simple Plan's awesome.
I'm gonna say a
Not
Simple
bad.
Plan because I don't think I've ever seen Synecdoche.
I haven't either.
Oh, it's such a good movie. We did it's a classic, didn't we?
I didn't watch it. That was back when I didn't watch all the classics, though. Well, since you're the only one who saw both, I'll go with your pick then. Team America, World Police, Time Cop.
Time Cop.
Team America, puppet sex. Come on.
Agreed. Psycho, You Don't Mess with the Zohan. Psycho. 1960.
Psycho. Even if it was Psycho 1998, I would have picked it.
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery or Little Women, 1994.
Little Women.
Little Women, yeah. Definitely.
That Pet Cemetery sucked.
And even the 94 version of Little Women is better than that fucking Pet Cemetery shit.
Amistad, Lethal Weapon 2.
I mean,
Give you this one, Bob.
Lethal Weapon 2, yeah, just because Amistad is hard to watch.
The Breakfast Club, The Aristocrats.
The Aristocrats, that documentary is incredible.
Yeah.
Even though I love Breakfast Club.
I agree. The Royal Tenenbaums, Marie Antoinette.
Man, god damn, that's tough. Oh, that is like Marie Antoinette is like Sofia Coppola's most underrated movie. I'm gonna go Tenenbaums, but it's really close for me.
I'm going to pick Marie Antoinette just because I'm kind of sick of the whole Wes Anderson aesthetic.
This is the only Wes Anderson movie I really like. So I'll go with Tenenbaums, but I do like Marie Antoinette. Meet the Parents, Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2.
Uh-huh. By a lot.
Bean, Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers.
Yep. Jeepers Creepers.
Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life.
Sex Lies Video.
Wow, this is so hard. Sex and Lies and Videotape.
The Killer Inside Me, Gladiator.
I don't think I've seen The Killer Inside Me.
Neither.
Or so you can check the archive blog to make sure. You want to double check me on that? I might have a review. I don't know.
I have, but it's kind of boring.
It obviously didn't make much of an impression.
The Princess Diaries, Gladiator.
The Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
I'll go Gladiator, but I don't really care. Dinner for Schmucks, Jackass 3D.
Jackass 3D.
Definitely. Way more male nudity in that one.
Mission to Mars, Hot Tomorrows.
Never heard of Hot Tomorrows, but now I want to because that title is amazing.
But the cover is terrible. Mission to Mars, Lethal Weapon 4.
Fuck. Mission to Mars is so bad, I have to pick Lethal Weapon 4. That's how bad Mission to Mars is.
Sure.
I like Lethal Weapon 4. I know it's bad, but I just like watching those movies. Rent, The Adjustment Bureau.
The Adjustment Bureau.
Yes, the movie that I saw being filmed, The Adjustment Bureau.
Oh, nice.
Courage Under Fire, A Serious Man.
A Serious Man. What an
Yeah.
incredible film.
Absolutely. Sideways, The Graduate.
Sideways. Definitely Sideways.
I saw The Graduate pop up, and I'm like, oh, I know what Sean's picking. You know what? I'll make it interesting. I'll pick The Graduate because of Anne Bancroft.
I love Sideways. The Oxford Murders, Ministry of Fear.
Neither one, actually, for me.
Fine.
So again, Ministry of Fear, great title, once again.
Secondhand
It's a good movie,
Lions.
too.
Oh, you saw it? We could have voted for it.
Well, I mean, Sean's running the show here.
Secondhand
I've
Lions.
never seen either of them.
Secondhand Lions being John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich.
I've never seen Secondhand Lions, but I like being John Malkovich.
Bicentennial Man Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Oh God, I hate Tom Cruise so much, but Bicentennial Man is like nightmare fuel. Oh God, you pick, Bob.
It's Jerry Maguire.
Okay.
Is there anything from Tom Cruise you like?
No, I really don't like him.
Wrong Turn Gandhi.
Wrong
Wrong
turn.
turn.
Child's Play 28 Days Later.
28 Days Later.
Oh, this one's really hard for me because I love Child's Play, but 28 Days Later is so good.
Yeah.
Child's Play.
Go 28 Days Later.
I knew I could get, I could vote for that one. It's like we're in Congress and I'm the 51st senator.
Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, The Green Mile.
The Green Mile.
Green Mile, Boss.
The Third Man, William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, 1996.
Third Man.
Third Man.
Baby Driver, The Change-Up.
Baby Driver, I guess. Change-Up is just not as funny as it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them both, but Baby Driver.
I mean, I love how great Nicolas Cage is in Baby Driver, so I guess I'll go
If
with
he was in it, it'd be even better. The Many Saints of Newark, Howard the Duck.
Many Saints of Newark. Oh, God, no. Fuck that movie.
was
Howard the Duck.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howard the Duck.
That was the Sopranos movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was lame. Or I don't think you're supposed to say lame anyway. It was stupid. North by Northwest, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
North by Northwest.
By Northwest.
Pocahontas, Warm Bodies.
That's a totally different Pocahontas than the Disney one.
Is it?
Same year.
I
mean, the art style, the poster is different. I guess you're right. Yeah, it might not be the same one. I
that's
don't know.
definitely not the Disney one. If that's
All right,
that's
we'll
the
try
porn
something
parody.
new. Deadpool 2, Warm Bodies.
Deadpool 2.
Let Me In, Steel Magnolias.
Let Me In.
I have to say, Steel Magnolias.
Oh, Let the Right
got
One
Dolly
is so
in it.
much better, though. But we'll go with that. The Shining, A Walk to Remember.
The Shining. Combine those two movies, that'd be amazing.
If you just made Shane West and Mandy Moore play those roles, could you imagine?
Yes. I
The
could.
Shining.
I mean, actually, they'd be pretty good today. They're both pretty good actors now.
Yeah.
This was a terrible movie at the time.
Running Scared, Psycho 98.
Oh, fuck me.
Psycho 98.
Yeah, probably
Mhm.
Running Scared is bad. They're both bad.
The Interview, The Gray.
The Interview, yeah.
Yeah, The Interview.
King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword, Hangover Part 2.
Hangover Part 2.
Yeah. Just like Robin Hood movies, we don't need any more King Arthur movies. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Annihilation, The Cable Guy.
Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Absolute Power, RV.
Absolute Power.
Yeah, I've never seen RV, but I'm guessing I probably
Sounds
hate it.
terrible.
It's from that unwatchable period of Robin Williams' career, which is a very long period of his career, unfortunately.
I mean, the last 22 years of his life.
Goodwill Hunting pops up in that
Oh, okay.
range, though. No, I mean, even as unwatchable.
Broken Clock is right twice a day.
I guess he does have two decent movies. The Green Hornet, Fatal Attraction.
The Green Hornet.
Fatal Attraction.
I don't really care. Fatal Attraction. I voted for Sean last time. Rope, American Werewolf in London.
Rope.
Rope.
Rope is awesome. Army of Darkness, Anastasia.
Army of Darkness.
Yep.
Agreed. So I married an ex-murderer, North by Northwest.
North by Northwest.
Yeah.
I'm not even waiting.
Sure. No.
Smiles of a Summer Night, The Whole 10 Yards.
Never
Smiles
saw
of a Summer
Smiles
Night.
of a Summer Night.
Deadpool 2, Bloody Movie.
Never heard of Bloody Movie. Yep.
No.
Deadpool 2, Exorcist, The Beginning.
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2, yeah.
You almost say Exorcist.
No.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, Rain of Fire.
Creature from the Black
Creature from the Black Lagoon. One of the best Universal monsters.
Kids, Don't Tell Mom.
I'm going with the feel-good one. I'm going with Kids.
Yeah. Don't let any of my gay friends find out I didn't pick Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
There's a like a gay thing about that?
Oh my god! Like, 5 people I follow on Instagram is just every other day. I'm right on top of it, Rose.
Huh.
Yeah, they love that movie, and I'm just kind of like, eh.
The Land Before Time, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
And the Rock's the Cradle.
Yes, absolutely. Rebecca De Mornay should have been a bigger star.
No kidding. The Blair Witch Project, Flight.
Flight is very
Flight.
good. I'm going with the Blair Witch, but yeah, the Flight is a very good movie.
I'll go Blair Witch 2. Did I hear you say Flight, Jeff?
Yeah, I love Blair Witch, but I can never watch it again
That's true.
because it was too shaky the whole time, and not as big of a payoff as I wanted. Although the first time I saw it, I was freaked out by the end.
Right. It's all about the experience, and you're never getting that experience after the first viewing.
I saw it opening night in the theater in Des Moines, and then I decided that one night, like a year and a half later, I really wanted to see it again, and this was before streaming, and we didn't have cable, and so I went to Walmart at midnight and bought it and rewatched it. And I'm like, okay, well, I just paid $20 for a VHS tape that I'm never going to watch again because I couldn't. I just was like, it made me ill the second time.
I always wanted, I never did it, but wanted to like get a VHS of it, throw the cover away and just have it hidden in their drawer and be like, hey kids, what's this? And put it on and have them try to experience it that way. But I ended up showing it to them too soon and could never pull that off. The Thomas Crown Affair, 1999, Hell or High Water.
Hell or High Water. Incredible film.
Yes. Juno, Hudson Hawk.
Juno.
Assassination Nation, The Ridiculous Six.
Assassination Nation. It's not good, but it's certainly better than Ridiculous Six.
I have never seen either one of those movies.
Did you actually watch Ridiculous Six, Sean?
I mean, like 5 seconds of it. Then I turned it off. I didn't have to watch it. Thankfully, he went to Netflix, and
well, the
I've
show
never
did it. Josh and I watched it, and
you and Josh
didn't.
I did not. I reveled in not.
Last one, Miss Congeniality, Lars and the Real Girl.
Lars and the Real Girl.
Miss Congeniality, that is one of my comfort movies. I watched that the day after the 2016 election. Also, speaking of Lars and the Real Girl, that's the comedy remake of the movie called Love Object. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
It sounds familiar.
I haven't.
Desmond Harrington from Dexter, he stars as a guy who gets a sex doll, and it kind of takes over his life in a not so fun, cutesy way. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I did see that. It wasn't bad.
I mean, it's Lars and the Real Girl. I feel bad voting for that. Sorry.
It's also a comic take on Boxing Helena, but that's a... I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
Yeah. Do you know who was originally supposed to play Sherilyn Fenn's part?
Was it Kim Basinger?
Madonna.
Kim Basinger was supposed to be somebody else's part.
She was up for it too. Madonna was signed, and then they apparently saw some other acting she did. And
Oddly,
said, no, thank you.
Oddly, Sherilyn Fenn, the director of Three of Hearts, which we're doing on the 93 podcast this week, they had a falling out over Boxing Helena because she refused to do a nude scene in Three of Hearts after her experience on Boxing Helena. And the director's like, well, you got naked for them. Why won't you get naked for us? Fucking prick.
Is that the one where Kim Basinger like got sued for backing out of it?
I think that's what happened. Yeah.
All right. That's our show, unless you guys want to do Big Trouble Little China and Dumb and Dumber.
No, that's fine.
All right. I'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.